we're gonna go into our second series so far. A friend of the cast, really cool guy. It's gonna be Angrypofke versus someone named Puppy Butthole. Why do you guys name yourselves this?
Puppy. Let's just
I'm just gonna call you Puppy because I don't want to say that during the cast over and over again. So let's go ahead and get into it. Game's set up now.
Angrypofke. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. I'm pretty sure I butchered it completely.
That's how I say it, dude.
But a consistent viewer in my stream, consistent viewer in your stream. He's everywhere.
He's a great
so
dude.
I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, it's just a super great dude. Have you seen the build order video he made?
No, I have not.
He's riding his dirt bike through a racetrack and just screaming out the fucking build order for 5 racks plus 1 with like the scouting and everything included into it. It's great. He's like, you send the SCV counterclockwise. It's dope. It's really great. But alright guys, let's get into game number 1 with Angrypofke versus Puppy here on Circuit Breaker.
So I actually don't know what race he plays. Hopefully Terran. Don't let me down. You watch my stream.
Oh,
Terran.
well,
he
you're gonna be pretty
Terran.
happy.
Yes.
Well, I'll let you introduce him then.
Alright, we got, in the bottom left, it's the one and only, Angrypofke.
And in the bottom right-hand corner, we have spawning as the red Protoss, we got Puppy.
Alright, so I'll talk a little bit about what you said about, you know, FP bot and replays and all that stuff to actually improve. These days, like, it's unreal how much content is out there to literally go from just being very noob to being very good. You can watch Flash. Now, I don't know if you should watch Flash originally as a noob because it's a little much, but you can just watch for, like, you know, like, how often does he miss depots? How often does he miss SCVs? The answer is never. So, like, just copy that. You don't need to copy all the intricacies of his build, like, you know, Armory at 525 or whatever the hell it is. But when I played, you know, I played even before there were replays. And actually, I'm not a big fan of replays because back then, like, you know, you actually had to come up with your own builds, or you actually had to play a guy to get experience with the build. So I remember this one instance for In Control. There was a ladder called WG Tour, and one of the rules was you had to upload the replay. And I actually didn't play In Control yet, but I had played a bunch of Zergs, and he apparently had downloaded all my replays, or at least a few, and he literally just blind countered me the one time we played on ladder, and then at the end he said, like, yeah, download your replay. I was beyond furious, like, beyond. Like, you don't even know. I was like, dude, like, I've never even played you, and you, like, know how I play? Like, that's so, like, keep in mind, replays were pretty new, so to have that happen, I was like, what? Like, I hate replays. Even now, I don't really like replays, and I don't really like FP VODs. Like watching VODs in a pro league is a little different because, you know, the exact build order is a little masked, and you kind of, like, you can't just directly copy, so I'm not really a big fan of that. But nowadays, like, I've kind of gotten over it. But so, what am I getting at? I'm getting at that it's a lot easier to be very good, and in the old days, you know, Noni was a pretty average Protoss for a long time, and then he literally watched, like, all the VODs, like, paused the games, copied the build orders exactly from VOD, not from FP VOD, but, like, from Pro League, where you can't see the minerals and stuff, and his skill level skyrocketed. You know, Noni is way up there, maybe, like, top 2 foreigner of all time. So it's actually very difficult to do stuff like that in the olden days. But now with FP VODs, anybody can just skyrocket. And that's why when I was playing Fish, I found it, like, so unbelievable that I was playing versus a Protoss that had 20 gates at F rank.
That must have been a crazy experience, man. I can't see, like, I don't feel like I could have ever even grasped the basics now. Like if I had been playing back then, because I remember when I played back then, like the ideal was to get, like, 1 Stargate and max out on carriers. Like, back when I played with my uncle, it would be like 70-minute games, and we'd be like, all right, I'm ready. I've got all my carriers. I didn't get any upgrades. It was all off 1 Stargate and 4 probes. Like, Oh my gosh, but I don't know. So to go back in the dark ages of Brood War when no one had information, I don't know. I almost like it like this, where everyone's a little bit better now, because even at these lower tiers, right, with all these players kind of not being like the best, even remotely close to the best in the foreign scene, everyone's got StarCraft looks a bit more like StarCraft once you get into the 1500 range, in my opinion. So I think that's pretty dope. I like the way that things are now. But yeah, it can be difficult for new players, for sure.
Oh, it's insanely difficult. And I know we weren't talking about this, but I want to point out Angrypofke had some sick Marine micro versus this rallied Zealot. Actually only got hit one time, I think, by the Zealot, so really sick there. Very nice micro from him. And oh, I was going to say something. I forget. But yeah, actually, I prefer the olden days, just because like a lot of people talk about this. They feel like the game's figured out, like, oh, there's 1-1-1 and 5 racks, and people just do it over and over. But in the olden days, we didn't have stuff like that. People just experimented all the time, like, oh, I'm just gonna gas this expand, and that was like a new thing. And then, oh, I'm gonna build gas on 13 instead of 12, or I'm gonna gas on 11. Me and a player named Hose had like long discussions on what's the most optimal gas timing. Is it 11 or 12? Hove actually went with 11 and I went with 12. So it was a different time. It was a lot of fun figuring stuff out. Now it's a different kind of fun, where now you're just actually damn good at the game, or way better than you were in the past. You can actually execute stuff. You don't have to worry about, oh, should I 12 gas or 10 gas? Well, it's pretty evident now you should 12 gas. So both eras are fun to play in. I personally prefer the old era, but I think for new players, if you were to just try and pick up the game with no FP VODs or no replays 20 years after the game came out, let's just be honest here, there'd be no hope for you at all.
Yeah.
You just get slammed over and over. It would just be depressing. But now there's a lot of content. I highly suggest watching pro VODs, even if you just literally just copy the basics. But anyways, we do have Puppy. He's putting a little pressure onto this bunker. Angrypofke's got his tank out, and he's going for the standard 2-fact follow-up after command center. This is my preferred build. It's pretty standard. Flash does this a lot. And really nice armory timing from him. I'm looking at it based on the game timer. This probably went down about 540. So at 540, that's about 7 minutes to get to +2. So we're looking at about a 13-minute 2-1 timing, which is actually pretty strong. If Angrypofke is really, really, really on top of his build order, he could be damn close to max. And a 13-minute max timing is hella strong versus Protoss. So I really like his build. And we have Puppy. He's just going standard 1 gate into Nexus, and actually double expanded with Observer. I like this. He doesn't have a lot of gateways.
Alrighty, well, so please explain to us, for some of the newer players. So 2-1 is an extremely important timing in Protoss versus Terran. Why is that?
Alright, 2-1. So, a long time ago, I didn't even get upgrades. The standard was 6-fact. You just go at 130 or 130 supply or so, and you just hope it wins. But it's actually a weak timing, and now everybody plays upgrade Terran. And the reason people go upgrade Terran is just 2-1 is just actually a killer upgrade. Now versus carriers, it's specifically good, and the reason it's good is because Goliaths take 6 shots to kill an interceptor when they have +0 or +1, but once you reach +2, it's now only 5 shots. Now this 1 shot does make a difference because the interceptors will regen if they're not killed, so you need to kill them ASAP. So 2-1 versus Goliaths are actually 2-1 versus carriers are actually very important. Now, first ground, it's a little harder to measure, but basically, it just makes killing the Zealots so much faster that if the Zealots melt, you can be pretty sure that the Dragoons will melt. But I want to talk about the game. We have Angrypofke. He's going with the timing, and actually this timing is really sick because all of Protoss's army is out of position, and he's going to get up a mine contain, he's going to get up a siege contain, he's got bunkers going, and there's only 2 gates for Puppy, or 4 gates just completed. So he's in a world of hurt right now.
Yeah, this is actually kind of terrifying right now. We've got turrets coming up, so no DTs can bust this. He'll have detection. He'll have objects in the way of his tanks.
Oh, this mine! Okay.
Oh man, that could have killed all the Marines.
Yeah, that would have been devastating. So, Angrypofke has breached the natural. It's going to be really hard for him or for Puppy to defend this. But Puppy's decided that, hey man, you got all your units at my base. You can't have any at your main. We got a counterattack going.
I think this is the way to go. Like this is the right decision, because if, especially on circuit breakers, if you try to go ahead and bust this contain once the Terran gets it, you're going to be trying to push Dragoons, the derpiest unit pretty much in the game, across these tiny little bridges with vultures harassing them, and trying to get them across is going to be basically a nightmare. So this natural for both players is going to be forfeit essentially. And we're going to see who's got the better crisis management.
Yeah, and Puppy has actually wiped almost all the SCVs with the natural. We actually see all of the vultures come. Oh my god, the mine actually killed a lot of the vultures. But if Puppy's paying attention, those vultures came from the natural. If he has a decent army out of his nat, he should know these are only tanks. If he built a round of zealots, just go. He could possibly break this before he loses his nexus. And then he would actually be in a pretty good spot. A Dragoon is still behind the natural and has 5 kills. It's killing even more SCVs. Oh, this is great management from Puppy right now. Loving this counterattack.
Angrypofke continuing to push forward the bunkers and the turrets. Not going to let up with this contain here. And now that we've got another turret in front of these tanks here, it might be pretty difficult to walk down that ramp. In the top right, though, we do have a base coming up.
Yeah, what you just said. We got a base going up. Not just the base going up. We got those 10 gates at the other main I'm talking about. So if he can get 1 or 2 rounds of zealots out here, he could potentially set up a big flank onto the nat and definitely just absolutely smart. Oh, we got a shuttle bomb going in.
Zealot bombs dropping on the tank. Alrighty, 2 zealots come out. Oh, a little bit of a miss micro from Puppy. Kind of taking off the zealots early on, but one of the tanks comes down now. It's going to be a little bit easier now to break down this ramp.
Yeah, but those depots were actually heroes. They messed up the Dragoon AI so much. Like, I can't even believe how much it messed up the AI. So many Dragoons went down right there. Shuttle was lost. That's a lot of money. There were 4 zealots in there. Only 2 of them unloaded, and he lost the rally zealots. So even though Angrypofke kind of lost his contain, he's already got another contain set up. So he's looking like he's in a great spot, but he doesn't know about top right. I'm kind of worried if a massive flank comes down.
Yeah, I mean, the reinforcements just keep streaming across the map here. We do have 4 gateways now finished in the top right-hand corner, and Nexus on its way. I mean, I don't know. I don't think Puppy can really afford to lose this main base, though. But it is going to be difficult to push up the ramp, even still. Oh man.
The shuttle got picked off again, and now look how many tanks Angrypofke has. All he really needs now is to float like an eBay. Okay, that's GG.
There we go.
Insane contain from Angry right there. Like, relentless with this contain onto the natural, and he's actually firing onto the 3rd base. So really nice play from him.
Yeah, very well done by both players. This game is looking to be a much tighter game or series as far as the difference in skill goes between our 2 players from that last series here. I'm really excited to see game number 2.
Yeah, I think that these players are probably pretty close in MMR. Obviously, I don't know what their MMR is, but they look like they were playing like pretty standard for both sides.
Alrighty, dudes. Well, we're going to go ahead and get into game number 2, and we're going to be on Fighting Spirit. But before we do, just letting you guys know, we are casting the CPL Preseason Tournament. I am joined today with the esteemed Nyoken. Please check him out on Twitch, on Twitter, wherever you can find him, basically. He's a great dude. And thanks so much, man, for coming out here and casting with me this afternoon here. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So, guys, please check in also with the Team Liquid forum for the CPL and join the Discord. And just try to engage with the CPL as much as possible. I think it's a great event. I think Python and Laser Snipe have been putting an amazing amount of effort and doing a great job running it. And it's probably the best event out there for growing the Brood War community. So if you guys really want to see Brood War continue to grow, keep supporting the casters, keep supporting the players, and get in there and get involved. Alrighty guys, well, spawning back into the game here on Fighting Spirit, we have in the top right hand corner, coming off a rough loss, got Puppy.
In the bottom left, we got the Terran with that relentless contain. It's Angrypofke. Now this map, it's Fighting Spirit. Like I was talking about, if I could ban all the maps, I'd ban everything except Fighting Spirit and Circuit Breaker. Just 2 standard maps. I love both of them.
You're that kind
Sometimes
of guy.
Yeah, I'm a standard kind of guy. The third base can be kind of difficult to take. It depends on the Protoss' style, where if there's somebody that likes to just build a ton of Dragoons and then sit Reavers on your third base, it does get quite difficult. But if you can match their micro, have good unit control, you can take your third base. So I'm a big fan of Fighting Spirit, and you know, I think Fighting Spirit is pretty balanced. Some people might say a little slightly favored for Protoss, but I think it's just a pretty good map for, you know, all matchups.
So not a huge fan of Third World and Sparkle and Corky Island.
No,
and all
F those maps. I don't even want to. I don't like if somebody talks to me like in 10 years or a year from now, like, hey, you ever played this map? I want to be able to say like, what's that? Like, I want it completely gone from my brain.
You know, okay, so kind of irrelevant, but I was reading a article last night. Apparently, scientists have discovered a way where you can like upload information into people's brains now. They've discovered the neural pathways that allow you to learn. So soon we're going to be able to upload our brain with information, and maybe you'll have your opportunity then to just kind of go in there and root around and kick those maps out.
Yeah, I'll also have to block out a few other things. Like, for example, if I ever lose to Gypsy, like, that's got to go first.
Oh.
Like, we can't have that. That will be the first to go. Like, yeah, I'll just hope that he didn't save the replay so he can never prove it.
Oh man, can you imagine getting that erased and then like years later, you're like, hey, he's like, hey Nyoken, you remember that one time that I beat you on this map? And you're like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I did, I swear to God. No, you didn't, you son of a bitch. I've got the replay right here. And you pull out your ancient computer, boot up a game that's like 80 years old. He's all, and then you just find out, you're like on your deathbed and you're like, no, I lost to Gypsy. Oh.
That would just kill me instantly.
Your heart instantly is just turns to stone in your chest, stops pumping blood, and you're gone.
Yeah, that'd be brutal. Oh my gosh, can't even imagine losing to Gypsy. I don't think Saro could imagine losing to Gypsy either. Like, let's get Saro's in the chat. I need some input from him. Could you imagine? I'm pretty sure he can. I'm waiting for his response.
I'm pretty sure I've lost to Bully Man on the ladder before. So.
Bully Man? I forgot he used that thing. So let's talk about the builds a little bit. We got Angrypofke. We don't have gases this time. It is a 12 gas. Oh, he wants to go 2-fac, but there's Zealot in his base. He's going to see it. He's going to have a good micro here.
Yeah, not a good positioning on the supply depot, so he's going to really have to micro around this barracks and be very careful, because you don't have that easy emergency button run through the little gap there. But the micro's been pretty good so far, considering.
Oh, is there not a gap there? I was positive there's a gap there, but apparently there isn't. Angrypofke with that barracks knowledge bomb drop right there.
Oh my gosh.
So pretty sick barracks placement, but even though the Zealot didn't kill very much, at least Puppy saw the 2-fact. Now, Angrypofke could go into that mind game mode where, like, okay, I know that he knows that I'm 2-facting, so now I'm just gonna expand, right? That would be a good mind game for him to do, because most likely what Puppy is gonna do is he's either going to put Dragoons below the ramp and kite forever, or he may just sit in his base and just wait and try and pick it, get some kind of like big flank. So we'll have to see. But I personally, when it gets scouted, I don't really like to continue doing it, because you know they're just going to go 2-gate, or you know they're going to go Reaver or something. And to do 2-fact into Reaver or 2-gate feels bad, man. Feels really bad.
Well, Angry tried to get a scout up in here into Puppy's main here, but unfortunately denied by the 2 Dragoons that were down the ramp. We do have the Robo finishing up now in the main of Puppy, so we're going to go ahead and, I assume, see that robotic support bay go down just in a minute here.
Yeah, so see, Angrypofke is doing exactly what I thought. He's going to build the command center, he's going to get siege, he's just going to sit here, and what I expect Protoss to do is 2-gate Observer, because you need the Observer for the mines. Like, Reaver is good, but the Reaver should be like the follow-up after the Observer, if you know, like, there's going to be some deadly attack coming. But since there isn't, and we don't even see a move out from Terran right now, even to go down the ramp, Puppy, maybe within a few seconds, will recognize that, hey, he's not actually doing this anymore, and he'll probably take a Nexus. One thing that you have to be worried about when you do this kind of like, oh, I got caught, so now I'm going to transition, is like you said, if there was a Reaver, what does Angry really have to defend the Reaver? He's going to have to put a lot in the front to defend the Dragoons. And then if a Reaver goes into the main, maybe he'll have like 1 tank, and 1 tank will insta-die to the Reaver. So he's got to be careful. He doesn't know what Puppy's doing. It's actually a 3-gate. Damn, this is a really high commitment. So I actually expect Puppy, once he sees that it is a transition, maybe go shuttle bomb like we saw last game.
I like the shuttle bomb. The only problem is that we had turrets in place already due to the fact that the containment was so strong early on. I think that a lot more could be done with the Zealot bombs in the shuttle if we're not at a position where Puppy's at a severe disadvantage just going into the game or into the fight.
Yeah, shuttle bombs combined with Dragoons are really good. For people in the chat that don't know, Mr. G5 went to a Chinese invitational event where actually Boxer was there. The king himself, or the emperor himself, and G5 actually smacked Boxer. Smacked him with straight up mass goons and shuttle bombs. Like, he smacked, like, I don't think I can emphasize it enough. He crushed him. So Dragoon Zealot bombs are actually very deadly, especially when you're going high commitment on the Dragoons in the early game. Look how many Dragoons there are. There's only 4 tanks. 4 tanks can kill a lot, but imagine if they start shooting their own tanks because there's Zealots dropped on top of them. Puppy could definitely break this.
It's so hilarious because you're right. Once you get the tank numbers even higher up into the higher numbers for tanks, wow, that was like the most circular sentence ever. But the more tanks you get, is what I'm trying to say, the faster Zealot bombs start killing tanks, because they're just, you drop 1 Zealot and it kills like 2 tanks instantly with all of the splash that comes out.
Yeah, I've even recently, this is something I had never seen before. Like, when it was happening, I was like, whoa. So I was playing ladder, of course, that's all I play. But a guy, his Zealot Reaver drop was not going to work. Like, it was just not going to get in and deal damage. But he saw opportunities where I had a lot of tanks stacked up in the natural, and he couldn't bomb on top of them. But what he did was he bombed on like a load of SCVs, because it was far enough in the game where I actually had a lot of SCVs at the natural, and like 5 tanks fired on him, and I killed like probably 5 or 6 SCVs to kill this one Zealot that got dropped on the mineral line. So he traded a Zealot for like 6 SCVs. It was probably
so
more damage done. Yeah, way worth it. More damage done than a Reaver probably would have done, because I probably would have just insta-pulled to stop it. So yeah, like you said, tank shots can really backfire on you if you're not focus firing.
That's actually hilarious. I can't believe it did that to you. That's great. At our 12 o'clock, we do have the 3rd base for the Protoss player going down here. I'm not gonna lie, man. If there was one thing that I really wish that we could have seen, is I would have loved to see a shuttle come out of our Protoss player here. He's got the Robo. He is making, you know, a lot of observers here, but man, that would have been pretty great. All right, so this cannon trying to get up here, and that's going to be a real huge boon to defend this runaround, but so far, it looks like it's not going to come up in time, and we do have now vultures in the main. Oh no, please don't send probes towards that Dragoon.
Yeah, these vultures just barely got by. Actually was able to kill like 5 Zealots blocking the entrance, and then the cannon wasn't up in time, and now we have a lot of vultures into the probe line, and look at the gateway placement. It's actually messing up the AI of the goons to actually get in here, so a lot of damage being done.
5 probes that just got stuck there, that couldn't leave. We're just totally trolled by this building placement here.
Yeah, so a lot of damage done there by Angrypofke, and look at his tank count. Like, it's actually insanely high right now. What is it, like 10 or so? What he could have done right there, this depends on the MMR of players. Like, if I try and do it, I get smacked. But he had so many tanks, and look, you saw the reaction from Protoss. Those vultures drew the entire army out of position. If Angrypofke had have sent all his units to the net, while that happened, he potentially could have gotten a contain up like we saw in the last game, and it would have been near impossible for Puppy to break out. But he is playing it safe. He's using these tanks to take his third base. He's really going for the macro build, just like Puppy is this game. So I really like this follow-up also. He's transitioning into the 2-1. That's really the deadly unit comp for Terran. Everything's just going really nicely for the Terran.
He's playing this super smooth. I really like the management they had. He played the Vulture run by really well. He didn't overcommit. He saw that he was going to be able to get damage done. He got a whole bunch of damage done, but he never gave up on the macro side of things. He's doing everything kind of all at once, which is really just impressive, especially when we're talking about a tier 2 player. I'm actually really scared to see Angrypofke go up against some of our weaker tier 2 players, because I think he's going to crush right through most of the competition that he goes against.
Yeah, I think you said the first game was tier 2 also?
Yeah.
Like, both of these players seem like light and day compared to the first one. Like,
yeah.
It's clearly much higher. I don't know if this is really a tier 2 game. I don't know what tier 1 is, but the skill of both players here is definitely much higher. Both of them are going for the macro game. That's what I like to see. I like to see the macro game. I'm not a big fan of times. Oh, we got a cybernetic spinning, so that makes me think we might be seeing carriers, but I'm looking for the Stargate. Where is it? Or this could be the ultimate mind game. What if Angry scans the cybernetics and there's no Stargate?
Oh my god!
So he starts building all these Goliaths and he moves out and, hey bro, I got mass zealot goon,
So
Templar
hilarious.
or something. That would be amazing. So please, Puppy, put down like 10 gate or something and just smash this Terran.
Oh my gosh!
For reacting to the cybernetic spinning. That would make my day.
We discussed this last night, and I discussed this like the other day too. This is not the level where you can do those kind of mind games. Like maybe Angry, right? Would recognize that as, oh man, maybe he's going carrier. But like, I feel like when you try to do like the super hardcore like subtle mind games on a player to make them freak out and like go down the wrong tech path, like so many times that I've done it in CPL, it just doesn't work because my opponents have no idea what I'm trying to signal. I'll like throw like down my hydrogen while I'm still on 3 and like start mining gas, and people will be like, oh, okay, and they'll just like leave the one cannon at the front of the base with no vision once I kill the probe, and they have no idea. So then I get to the front like way later, and I assume that they commit to a couple of cannons, and it doesn't happen. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like if this is what he's doing, it's actually brilliant, and I kind of want to wait to see if this gets canceled or not. But I highly doubt that it's gonna do anything.
It's going through. I'm just still waiting for the gateways, but it's true, like you said, you could have like the greatest mind game of all time, but if the other guy is an Ardo Protoss, it doesn't matter. Gateway Man's gonna continue doing Gateway Man things. So, I mean, I think it's genius, but oh, okay, we do have Stargates going down at the 4th base, so it is not a mind game. Even though it's not a mind game, this is actually not even a bad move, because I was talking about the importance of upgrades for Terran versus carriers. So if you don't have upgrades on your carriers when you initially start fighting, you're just going to get massacred, because Terran's already going to have 2-1. You're going to be basically playing to catch up. And once Terran hits +3, if you don't have +2 armor, that's a key thing, or +2 weapon and +2 armor, like, it's going to be very hard to fight. Even if you have like the critical mass of carriers, which is about 8 or so, you're just going to get shredded by Goliaths, because they're like insane with +3. So even though that was not a mind game, I still like it. And the fact that it's at the 4th base, I don't think I've seen a scan there yet, so he doesn't know it's coming. What it really comes down to is, did he notice that the cybernetics is spinning?
Well, I mean, you can go ahead and check the factories, and it looks like we're just going to see constant tank production here. We've just got a really minimal number of Goliaths here, so no real preparation for a carrier transition yet. I think that makes a little bit of sense, though, because don't you usually want to go ahead and go for a push while your opponent is transitioning to carriers, since they're not going to be producing out of their gateways so much?
Yeah, exactly. Not only are they not producing out of the gateways, carriers are the most supply unit that Protoss has. So we have 3 Stargates. That's going to be 18 supply for Protoss. That's actually quite a bit. Imagine if even those were just, you know, Zealots. 9 Zealots can turn a tide. What if one of the Zealots gets a sick pull into, like, the tank line and they start splashing each other? That's a lot of damage. So 20 supply not in the Protoss army is a big deal, and there's a big window of opportunity for Terran. And Terran's the race that is strongest with, you know, critical mass units. You never see like Terran move out like, oh, I got 1 tank, I'm just gonna go attack now, right? They're strong when they have tons of them. So if they can snowball a fight, it's gonna be insanely difficult for Protoss to get back into the game.
Alrighty, well, one thing I am worried about is that Angry seems to be a very slow, kind of careful pusher here. And I'm worried, honestly, that if we don't get, well, shoot, man, this fight is looking very scary. All of a sudden, the tank numbers are dwindling very quickly, and some really nice storms at this this high clump of tanks here. We're kind of wiping out a little bit too much here. But the Protoss, I was gonna say the Protoss army is dwindling now, and Angry still has a whole bunch of tanks on the low side of his formation here.
Yeah, Angry's army is actually really strong, and literally +2 just hit right now. So that was kind of an anti-timing for him that Protoss attacked right then. He just barely missed +2, but what I was gonna say was Angry during that fight, he had like 7 or 8 tanks that were all the way at the bridges. They weren't even in that fight. Imagine if those tanks were in the fight, probably every Dragoon would have been wiped there.
Oh yeah, that army would have just disappeared.
Yeah, then he could go counter wherever he wants. Personally, I would think countering mid-right would be perfect, because he can set up mines coming in from the top. Then he's wiping out the Stargates, which is really what Puppy is going for right now. So it would have been a great opportunity, but just a little bit out of position for Angry. But now Angry is attacking, but carriers are out and gateways are flanking in. Oh, it's a move command!
Oh no! Oh man, and the siege is a little bit late here, and the Zealots are getting on top of them, but they evaporate pretty quickly here.
Yeah, but here's the issue. We only have 1 Goliath, but this 1 Goliath is the hero. Did he take out the carriers? No.
Oh.
So like I was saying, it looks like Angrypofke is just completely off guard by these carriers. We see every single factory is queued up with Goliaths now. Oh, his attack would have been so great if he had even just like 6 Goliaths here. I think for sure he could have pushed back the carriers. I'm looking at the carriers right now. They don't even have the interceptor upgrade, so there's only 4 interceptors. So this would have been an amazing timing for Angry. But now, Puppy has pushed back the attack. He's got a lot of gates. If he can get up to 6 carriers with a decent ground army, carriers combined with gateway units are deadly, man. Oh, Zealots tank forever. I hate that comp.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like Angry's still got such a large army, though. Like, look at the tank count that got out of that fight. We still have, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 10 tanks and some Goliaths heading up towards the 12 o'clock base now. If he just keeps poking around and not committing to any kind of attack that he can't take, I think, like, he's going to do pretty okay here, except for, wow, no siege here, and a bunch of Zealots get on top of these tanks immediately.
Yeah, but this is fine. Actually, the gateway count is really low. Oh, no siege. He's flashing his own units. Oh, now we only have 2 Goliaths left versus... Oh, D-Matrix. Get in there, boy.
Dude, this guy's going for it.
I like Angry's spot right now, and I'd love it even more if +3 was going. So I checked his armories, +3 is not going. So this is a pretty big blunder from him. His army is still strong, no denying this, but +3 is actually amazing. And now all the Goliaths are getting picked off. They're out in no man's land. All the tanks are going to the top. Oh, Angry's gonna kill a lot here, but he's gonna be trading his entire tank count for this base.
Well, the base is going down super fast, though. I mean, when you have that many tanks just sitting down and shelling away at buildings, those buildings kind of evaporate pretty quickly. I almost wish that these carriers would just go up and deal with those tanks, though. You got like 3 Goliaths and 2 tanks down here. That seems like a pretty irrelevant army.
Yeah, all these tanks are dead. That's a given. So trading a Nexus and the probes, that's not a small loss. Let's not deny that, but that's a lot of tanks to lose here. That was like 11 tanks. That's a lot of tanks. Now, keep in mind, this is Fighting Spirit, where the third base does have gas, and Angry actually has a lot of resources, so this may not come back to bite him. But that was a big loss from both sides. I'm worried because now the carrier count is at 8, and that's when it gets scary. But, oh, it's actually at 9. But, okay, did he just get the interceptor upgrade? No, he still doesn't have the interceptor upgrade.
Oh, man.
These carriers are fighting at half potential.
But there are only 2 Goliaths here with this little army, and these carriers are going to make quick work of that.
Yeah, I think Angry is just bleeding a bit too much. Once, you really have to, like I said, Terran is strong when it's consolidated. You can't bleed like this. Now, I think this might, like, it's not over yet, but it seems like it might be the beginning of the end for Angry just because of how much has been bled from him.
Yeah, I would almost like to say that if he just went home and started massing up Goliaths and, you know, got his +3 upgrade going and everything like that, he could be in a pretty okay spot still. But unfortunately, we're just continuing to rally tanks across the map, which is an interesting choice in my opinion, because I mean the number of gateway units that are coming out of here is like 4 zealots at a time or something like that.
Actually, now that I'm looking at it, look at the probe counts at all the bases. Main's mined out, there's only 5 there. There's like 10 at the nat. There's like 6 at the mid right. There's actually not enough money for Puppy. If Angry can get bottom middle, supplies are actually like way in favor of him, but I want to point out that Puppy's probe count is way lower, so it may actually be deceiving. The armies may actually be quite even. And there it is, the 4th base from Angry. So Angry is actually not in a bad spot, but he does need to quit bleeding these units, because look at the carriers. There's 9. We have 3 more coming, and that's scary.
Oh yeah, I mean, but you're gonna start getting to the point now where Puppy's not gonna even be able to afford interceptors for his units if Angry's able to get a decent enough Goliath count. And these Goliaths now flanking from the back and dealing damage directly to the carriers. We got 1 going down so far.
Yeah, he was able to snipe 1, and like you said, carriers are strong, but they're not strong if they can't put up interceptors, and that's why upgrades are so important. You shred those interceptors. What can carriers do? They don't do anything. But I'm so sad for Puppy. We still don't have the interceptor upgrade, and it's still not even being built. Oh, but now this is pretty slick. He's going into the main. All the units are out on them. Just pick off the armory and leave, dude. Like, it's halfway to +3. Pick it off and leave. That would be a great pick off from him. But he might get caught here.
If you check the interceptor count, though, there's even a carrier right now that only has like 1 interceptor. So this is a little rough here. We've got a decent amount of Goliaths here fending this off. I'd like to see maybe these carriers float up to the... Oh, alrighty.
Actually, a big counterattack into the nat from Angry that I didn't see. Wiped all the probes there. So nicely done from him. I was worried because he's bleeding a lot, but he kept Protoss Econ down. And carriers are useless if you don't have any money.
Yeah, man. I don't know what to say there. I mean, I felt like Puppy was doing a pretty good job there. I don't think there's any really huge overarching criticism that I can make of his play. Obviously, just kind of do everything a little bit better. There wasn't, in my opinion at least, not too many glaring holes in the way that he played that. Angry just had a bit better execution, and both these guys are looking pretty strong.
Yeah, I think those games were pretty good, to be honest. And what I really liked was that it was pretty even. So if I was either of them, I would definitely, like, you know, maybe they hate each other, but I would... It's hard to find people that are, like, you really feel like are pretty damn close to your skill. I feel like both of those players are pretty similar. So if they practice with each other, that'd be some great practice, and they can definitely boost each other's skill. Maybe, I'm just guessing MMR, like 1700. They play against each other enough, you know, both of them can get up to 2000. For sure, like, they looked like they were pretty damn good.
Yeah, I can confirm they're about that level. Me and Angry play a lot, and we usually go pretty even as far as the win rates go. He usually wins unless or when I'm doing any like the ridiculous shit that I like to do with lanes in the middle of the game and stuff like that. Because he's a very solid player, so if he continues to work on his mechanics and stuff like that, I'm sure he's going to shoot up there in the MMR, and that's kind of what the CPL is all about, man. This is a great opportunity for him to continue to find people of the skill level and continue to just grind it out and work on all of his mechanics and everything, for him to really get in and improve and start to get into those levels where you're like, wow, that is actually a very impressive foreigner.
Yeah, I agree.
But man, Angry taking it 2-0, just a little bit of an edge on his opponent there. Very good series from our 2 players there.